Hello and welcome back. My name is Tuxedo Ian. We are getting back into our playthrough of Book of Hours. This will be video number 55 in our series. We are in the middle of summer or spring of our third year, and we just held a lively salon. So we have a couple of memories and quite a few lessons that we need to apply today so that we don't lose them in case Numa decides to pay a visit at the end of this season. So with that said, let's dive right in and see what we can get done today. So we have a book Oriflams is offering us, The Humors of a Gentleman, Samuel Savage's satirical comedy on the intrigues of the ailing but cunning John Son, his mistress Madeline, her lover Leo, and the upstart Corvino. So that will give us a lesson on Sky Stories, which we can probably apply to something else because we've already assigned Sky Stories in our skill web. We can probably give that to Inks of Power here because that will give us some more rose power. And we definitely want our inks skills to be as high as possible because that makes making the great inks even easier. So let's see. We also have a lesson on inks of containment, insects and nectars, Ramsond, resurgences and emergences, rites of the roots. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to take that insects and nectars as our first. Or actually, I think we're going to apply this Inks of Containment skill to Hill and Hollow, and we are currently reading books to use for that. So we will speed time up a little bit. So let's see what else can we do so we're not wasting time here. We can do. We will wait, I think, for summertime before we open that. We can have the barber open that, and you can give him some skin shuck mead to do so. We're going to want Mr. Kill today because we want to try and open up that kitchen. Or the basement, rather. So we'll use a whist and call Mr. Kill's help. Mr. Kill always enjoys a chance to catch up with me. He always can spare a few hours to help a friend. His skill is now level 5. Its power aspects have also increased. Alright, Mr. Kill, we will give you a whist. We'll watch for what lies ahead. We also are going to want to give him a bottle of Solomon's Preparation, which we still have one copy of. And then let's see, do any of ours give winter? Yes, they do. So this one gives 5 winter, so we're definitely going to want to read that. So we can use a health over here and reread for a fundamental aesthetic. We need Arapicaean for that because it's written in Arapicaean. And that will give us a 5 winter memory that we can give to Mr. Kill. It's not a Wormwood Dream with 6, but it's close enough. My assistant and I will be prudent. So we also need something with winter. So let's see, what else can we give him with winter on it? We can give him the bronze knife, which has winter 1. It's not much, but it is something. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 memories for Hill and Hollow. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 inks of containment. Health. At last, I'm something of an authority in this. So this will give us 6 scale. So that will make it that much closer to getting to 15. Tool has boosted their aspects appropriately. So we also, let's see, we need winter. So let's see what kind of. We can give him some milk and get 1 winter that way. I think what we'll do is we will make, since we have several bunches of it, we'll make another thing of Blue Crown tea. That will take a minute. Alright, Hill and Hollow is now level 6. So the next thing we want to turn our attention to is insects and nectars. So we will need, first off, we will need 1 memory from this. That will give us 1 nectar. Where is our other core? Oh, it's being used to cook. So we can do core. 7th voice. That gets us Moon 1. Moon 2. Moon 3. Moon 4. Gospel of Zacchaeus will be Moon 5. So this will be 6. And then we need 1 more memory. So we can come up to our desk here, use our Westengrier to read Wrapped in the King to get memory 7. Alright, so there is our Newman. Like I said, not quite as good as the Wormwood Dream, but it's a lot less labor intensive to get it. And then the Solomon's Preparation will get him to 13. We'll get him to 14, so that's more than enough. Alright, so we have Scent. Green Scents recall rain. And the Solomon's Preparation. End up not needing the Blue Crown Tea for now, but we probably will need it later. So we'll set that on the counter here. Let's see, what can we do with this Gale? We'll experiment with that in a minute. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, plus the memory scent gives us 7 memories for insects and nectars. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. And the lesson. And we need moon or nectar, so we'll use a Tryst. As at last I approach mastery. Improve this skill to level 8. So let's see, with our Gale, let's try and do some heart crafting today with that. Or sky crafting. So let's see what all we have. So Lockworks and Clockworks we know can do sky, but that would only get us to 7, and the Foss would only get us to 8. But we can try. Let's examine what Lockworks and Clockworks is going to ask for sky. So for sky, we need to add metal to create an exotic alloy. I wonder what metal, because it makes Gervanite with Nock. What would it make with Sky? An interesting conundrum. So we do have some Gervanite we could use as a metal, but we'd still need to find 2 more Sky. Let's try. Let's see. We have some high Sky. We can put a Didymos in here. We could put the Gervanite in. That would get us to 10. We can put the shaft in there, and we can make orichalcum wire. Use this metal as a base for the late fabled forge ally called orichalcum. Lockworks and clockworks with scholar level sky plus metal creates wire orichalcum. Also, well, we can't quite get to 15 sky, but what we can do is we can get to 15 knock, I believe, using our curious hunch. Yes. So that makes a Cronus cord. Place the Gervanite at the heart of a knock device. So while I think having a Cronus cord, we'll go ahead and make one because we do have an extra Gervanite laying around that we can make. And we'll demonstrate that because this is the only knock tool that is available in the game. Down to the Crucians. And this year we have white flowers on the U. This room has been visited by has been visited by worms, the abomination of the relic kind, but almost no traces remain. So we'll put Mr. Kill working there. And I think what we'll do is after we've made this Gervanite into a Cronus cord, we will take this Gervanite we have down here and turn it into some orichalcum. So Insects and Nectars is now level 8. The Hive, the Nest, and the Chrysalis are the 3 secret principalities of the Lesser World. 2 of these 3 know the temptations of sweetness. Oriflammes thanks you for your custom, the humors of a gentleman. So we'll add this to our to-read shelf up here. So let's see, what else do we have? So we have a lesson in Ramsund, a lesson in Resurgences and Emergences, and a lesson in Rites of the Roots. So let's go ahead and apply that to Rites of the Roots, because it's level 4 and we can use another level there. Make its moth craft doable with anything. So we need moth or nectar. Well, that's going to be a little tricky. We can do Wrapped in the King. Gets us Nectar 1. We can do Ambrosial. Gets us Nectar 2. We can do this one, Newman 3 rules, gets us Moth for 3. And we can examine that plant again to get 4. So there's our Memory of Scent. And Mr. Kill has finished his work. The Jail Cellar. The entrance to the sub-cellar was barred, locked, chained, warded, both physically and otherwise. Whatever was kept down there, they took it extremely seriously. It looks very much as if the questing worms broke the seals drawn by the power below. It looks very much as if they regretted it. Keep out. Turn back. Well, something was definitely down there. So we have, on our shelves here, we have some wire, copper, the malachite's metal, forge, nectar, and sky, some abandoned packages, some Schloss Jennings, some dandelion wine, another bottle of sloe gin, some kerosene, and some paraffin. So we have those elsewhere. Arsenic, a poison sometimes known as the message of the swan. A box of oddities, a tiny treasury of forgotten things, so we'll grab that to examine it. Some elderflower cordial, wrung from sweet white flowers. Scintillate oil, Cater and Hero's finest scintillate oil. A serpent-styled glass, carved snakes writhe up the frame. A prominent inscription reads, "To the Librarian Willem in earnest of our wager." An amethyst ampule and some more pickled mushrooms. An essential periost, some more Solomon's preparation, and yet another saw. Plus a candle over here. And that opens up 2 new rooms for us. The sagging dock. The storms have had their way with this since the prison was abandoned. It won't last much longer. And an incandescent hollow. Sullen heat still roils below. Its originator must be long gone, but it must be quelled before I can descend safely. 15 forge, 15 knock, or 15 winter. Well, we know we can get Mr. Kill to 15 winter. It's just going to take us quite a bit of work to get there, but we can do it. So we'll have Mr. Kill open that up tomorrow. So let's finish up getting our memories and upgrading Rites of the Roots 1 more level. And then we'll see what we can apply. We have not leveled Rams, or we have not signed Ramson, so we'll get 1 sky memory that we can use. Actually, we can use the Gale for that. So we have 1, 2, 3 memories plus the scent for Rites of the Roots. 1, 2, 3, 4, and the lesson. And our last health. We could use the Trisk, but we'll use the health. We don't have anything else to spend it on today. And then after that's done, we can use this Gale to upgrade Ramsund to 1 more level. When a Chronos Chord is completed, it is fully wound for the first and only time. Chronos Chord, a music box that only performs once, a typewriter that can only send 1 message, a clock that can only strike now. 6 knock, 3 sky, 3 winter, a thing, a tool, a device, a machine that will only operate once. If it's an infernal device, that means it'll explode, so be careful. It's also ink and 3 forge. So this is quite the device, and this is basically how you break the game in half now that we've gotten into the latter parts of the game. And we have Lockworks and Clockworks at a level where we're almost available to really just abuse it and crank out Chronos Chord after Chronos Chord. We probably need about 2 more levels to make it worthwhile to do so. But we can use this. We can use Ramsund. Actually, our foundry is there. The skill is now level 5. Its power aspects have increased. Rites of the Roots. The oldest hours are the gods from blood, who rose from sacrifice. That blood was always spilt on the roots, and the rites of its spilling are still remembered. And then we'll apply Ramsund and the Gale. And we need something with Sky, so we can use Faust. There's always more to learn. Improve this to level 2. Because Ramsund can go to Birdsong or to Preservation. So let's see whether we have holes in either of those. So we do have a level 2 available for Birdsong that we could apply it to. So we'll probably do that. And while we are thinking on it, so we can come in with Lockworks and Clockworks, and we can make the other item that it creates by applying our Wind and Waiting. So we can make Orichalcum wire. Use this metal as a base for the fabled forge alloy called Orichalcum. And there is a reason why I'm making this Orichalcum wire, and you will see why, because it will help us out quite a bit tomorrow. So let's see, I think that's all we can do for there. Yep, so Ramsund is now level 3, or is now level 2. This language has been called Mantic Altair, and Lingua Alcel, and the speech of birds, and Ramsund, and the hazelnut tongue. But it's a language of secrets, and its true name may never be used. The Aviform Hours use it at their roost, or so the story goes. So let's see. If we were to use this lesson of resurgences and emergences, it could go to Great Signs and Great Scars to make that level 10, to make that level 8. Or we could actually apply it to Ramsund to make that level 3, because it does share the moth aspect. Decisions. So let's keep this memory of satisfaction for tomorrow, so we can decide, so we can maybe see what we can do. Because getting 7 Grail or Knock memories is going to be quite a task. Because let's see, we have Didymos that's Knock. We have this Enduring Reflection that's Knock. We have Occult Scrap that's Knock. So that's 3 memories right there. We could also get Gospel of Zacchaeus would be 4. Almanac of Entrances would be 5. Beguiling Melody would be 6. And Pattern would be 7. Yeah, we could do that. In fact, I think that's probably the best use of that. Because Resurgences and Emergences is pretty much capped out. We've done what we needed to do with it. Although we haven't assigned it yet. We haven't assigned Great Signs and Great Scars either. So we'll hold off on assigning either one of those. But, okay, so we said we need Gospel of Zacchaeus, makes 4. Almanac of Entrances makes 5. Beguiling Melody makes 6. And then finally, so Grail or not, Pattern gives us 7. Yep, so we'll start those just before day ticks over. And actually, it gives us 1 extra. It's 4, 5, 6. And the satisfaction that we kept over, so we can actually save the Enduring Reflection. Because Didymos is easier to make than Enduring Reflection is. Or, well, Enduring Reflection is easy enough to make. We can go ahead and use it. Didymos does take 2 memories, and we have the Ascendant Harmony, so either one. Oh, and something I wanted to point out: some of the items in the house, as you can see, we can also examine them. So this is one that has a kind of silly thing to it. So we will examine this. Investigate this object. You won't use this up or consume it by doing this. And some of the flavor text that goes along with reading what some of these things are is, extremely amusing. Moon Stool, polished to pallor by the posteriors of past librarians. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4. And there is our Orichalcum. With Keeper level Forge, Orichalcum can catalyze and contain the Azoth. So wire Orichalcum, a metal which alters its estate in every age, but in every age can be used to catalyze the Azoth. 4 Forge. So this is why I wanted it, because this is a 4 Forge item that we can give to Denzel. And we are going to go enlist Denzel's help now, because he has Forge aspect, and we want to get down into this area here, which requires 11 Forge. The Room of Rusts. The ceiling has collapsed. Rusting machinery pokes out here and there through the rubble. So we'll go talk to the smith. Denzel Smith, strong as oak, blackened by smoke. He will never surpass his father, and he is no longer a soldier, but he still has his craft. So we can get his attention with a metal card. Denzel will talk about practical matters, though he prefers to sit in silence. A shilling will buy his help for a day. If you give him occult coinage, he will perform the service of division instead. So just to show, if we gave him Divide Bronze, since the time of the Curia, the Smiths of Brandkrug have performed the service of division for them. This will break your Spentria into more manageable coinage. But we don't need to do that. Instead, we will give him a shilling. What do you need? And as soon as our verb here is free. So, there's a stain halfway down the side where, sometime in the mid-1830s, Solomon Husher spilt his tea when he heard that Julian Costley had apologized. This has given us a memory of touch. Craft is learnt through the tips of the fingers. So I thought that was rather clever little thing. Solomon Husher spilling his tea. That's just a funny mental image there. So we have the great signs and the great scars. We'll use an Arab. And we'll use a lesson. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7 memories. At last I approach mastery. Improve this skill to level 8. Denzel the blacksmith will lend me his strength for the day. Make use of the blacksmith's help before dawn. So we will talk to Denzel. He might even reply. Add something to enhance Denzel's effectiveness for the day, or just talk. Unlike some assistants, Denzel can make use of metal. So we will give him that orichalcum that we made. I can offer my assistant metals, mundane or exotic. This will increase their aspects. They'll keep any of the metal that's left over. So this will get him to 6. We can give him a metal, which will get him to 8. And so then we need to find 3 more points of forge. Now we have this memory of touch we can give him. However, we can also come over here. We do have some forge memories we can make. We can make this, which will give him 2 points of forge. And then we can use, we have a tool that has forge on it. We can use the mortar and pestle, which is, or we can use one of these things over here. We can use a square. So that will get him to 11, which will be enough to open up that bottom room. We could also give him the Chronos cord, but that will be for later. We'll actually probably use that with Reverend Timothy. But we can also use it with Denzel, too. If we give him the Gervanite and a Chronos cord, that gives him 10 extra points of knock that he doesn't have either. So that's kind of the key to breaking some of the late game rooms, is using those 2 things together. Let it clutter up their shelves. This has improved their aspects appropriately. So then we'll give him a metal, which will get him to 8. And yes, none of our Newmans give us forge power just yet. This skill is now a level 8. Its power aspects have also increased. So we have 8 knock and 9 grail from that. Some glyphs are too obscure to be written to reside in any language, but too potent to remain unwritten. Alright, so we're just about done with reading this book here. Just in time. Our course is fixed. We'll give him the memory of hindsight. I can discuss a memory with my assistant. This will use up the memory, but boost their abilities. And then last but not least, we can give him this square, the Mason's Pride, or we could give him the Spanners. When you need them, you need them. So we'll give him the square, which will get him to Forge 11. So we'll be able to open up that new room and descend farther into the caves. Alright, that's done. So we're coming down here. The Room of Rusts. The ceiling has collapsed. Rusting machinery pokes out here and there through the rubble. So that will take a minute to do that. So yeah, so when summer comes around, we'll be able to open this up with the help of a barber. Then we can also work on getting Mr. Kill here to the Incandescent Hollow tomorrow. A sealed cell. We can definitely get Denzel to 12. We just need to give him something to drink as well, which also has Forge aspect on it. Which we have several things. We have the Rustkragan whiskey, can do that. Alright, so here's what we found. The pumps, upper level. The Curia installed these pumps to drain the lower levels, but they installed them in the late 19th century. I'll need to provide suitable materials and fuel, and I'll need a prentice level of forge to jury-rig them. So we need 2 pieces of metal, some fuel, a soul fragment, and a forge or knock skill. Well, we have our memory of touch. We need 2 metal. So what we can do, we can come to back to here. We have our lockworks and clockworks. And we found another amethyst ampoule over here. And we can apply a shaft. And we just need one more thing that has knock, so we need a knock memory. So we'll grab our amethyst ampoule and keep that with us. Also, one other thing I wanted to point out. If you'll notice this clock, or this hourglass, carved snakes writhe up the frame. A prominent inscription reads, "To the Librarian Willem in earnest of our wager." But if we check the one that we found up here in Illopolis Nook, this one says, "To the Librarian Gervinus in earnest of our wager." So there were evidently somebody was wagering something with the librarians of the Curia. Okay, so we need a knock memory. Easily done. We can grab another pattern here. And we need 2 pieces of metal. So we need, that will give us 1 piece of metal. And we have this wire copper over here that will give us another. So let's investigate this package that we found. Something small and curious. Crack open the container, delight in your discovery. And we have plenty of fuel that we can use for that. Apprentice level is only level 5, so we can definitely find that. Flooded level. Gleaming black water, still as bone. I'll need to find some way to lower the water level before I can descend. So we will need a circumstance, something that is so, but only for now. Circumstances disappear in the season of Numa, and it will need knock 3 and forge 3. And the new rooms we open up are the Silent Hall. The hearth is cold, the floor thick with dust, the walls streaked with nitra. Old invocations and forbiddings squeak and whisper like rats. And a crystallized chamber. My path is blocked by shining surfaces like curdled light. Dark shapes shift beneath. We can tap away the crystal if we're careful. But we must be careful. So that one we can definitely get Mr. Kill on easily enough. This one with 15 moth, we're definitely going to need the help of a barber for that, because the barber comes with 2 moth. So we can add a Newman, that will get him to 7. We can add the Skinshuck Mead, which will get him to 13. And then we just need to find 2 more points somewhere. We do have a moth tool somewhere. Yeah, we have the Shears of the Sisterhood. So that will get him to 14. So we just need to find a food or a food or something that has moth power. And our honey. Honey has moth on it, so we can give him moth, which will get him to 14. Something to consider. And then we can use a Trist, which would get him... Actually, we can use the Trist instead of the honey, because Trist has 2 moth, so that would get him to 15 moth. So if summertime comes, we're going to have some busy barbers. And just because we can come over here to the necropsy table. Oh, wrong one. Did not mean Fusine. Wanted to use the glass blowing. So glass blowing and vessel crafting. And if we add our shaft, this will also make an amethyst ampoule. So that will save us some time later when we want to make another piece of Gervanite. So there is our knock memory. And we'll go ahead and make another one of those. Because we're going to want to make multiple pieces of Gervanite here. So this makes Gervanite. So let's see, is there anything we can do? Yes, we want to, so we can use the sun. So we found, we found a bronze spintria in there. Nice. So we should have enough here. Since we used up our wind in waiting, we'll use the sun, Faust, and our strings and songs. Yep, that doesn't quite get us to where we need to be. So we can use the... No, we'll leave that for another day. So let's see, what else can we make with Sky? Sacralime makes Awakened Feather. Sky Stories makes Ascendant Harmony. If we add the Ascendant Harmony instead, that's not quite, still only 14. So let's see, what else do we have that has Sky? Blazerian Lightsmithing. Let's see what it makes. So that makes a Deer Day lens. We add metal, it makes a substance with subtler properties. We add glass, I can distill a potent lantern liquid. So let's go ahead and make us a Deer Day lens because we don't have any of those hanging around at the moment. And it might come in handy. Alright, so there's our new amethyst ampoule. We can stick this down in the forge, because that's where it's going to be used. And let's see, let's actually look at this and what it asks for a level 10. Okay, so it makes orichalcum if you use metal with it. So it does the same thing as Lockworks and Clockworks does. Although it uses knock rather than sky to make orichalcum wire. So that'll be a lot easier for us to make some more for that, for juicing up Denzel. Because Gervanite is 4 knock, so that's more than enough. If we were to add the Didymos, we need to add glass to distill a potent lantern liquid. So let's see, what do we have we can use? We need carcass, a tool, a material, or remains. That's glass. Well, we know we have the Librarian spectacles. These are glass and light, but it's a thing. So it doesn't fit into either of those. So let's find a knock place that can take a thing. Yes, we can do this, because this will accept light. So we add the glasses. We add glass blowing and vessel crafting. Faust. And then we need 4 points. So we can make Ichor Vitreous. Distill a pale and watchful lantern fluid. We also have level 10 of some other thing, and then we have 4 level 15 crafts with glass blowing and vessel crafting. So that's something to keep in mind for later. But we have 2 vials of Ichor Vitreous already, so I don't think we need to do another one. The other thing I was thinking about is we have drums and dances here. And we never did look and see what we could get with 15... or with 10 nectar. So what we'll do, we will read Wrapped in the King to get that 2 nectar memory. And then over here, we'll read Ambrosial to get that 1 nectar memory. And then we can use those at the drum with drums and dances to get to 10 nectar. Alright, so there's our memory of pattern. And we have some rain today. The lens is asymmetrical, fragile, unstable. That's what gives it power. Dear Day Lens, a fiendishly simple and wretchedly fragile optical device. 2 lantern, 2 sky, edge, and forge. It's a lens. Thomas DeWolf, called Baron Silence, built the observatory at Brankrug. He was known to pay well, but his requirements were so exacting that no lens grinder would work with him twice. It's also glass. It's a device, so it can only be used once. It's also and it's a tool. One reason the apes beat the Beatles. So we'll set this on our counter here. And if you notice, this is one of the only place in the house that actually takes lenses. But that makes sense. It is a telescope, so telescopes need lenses. So let's see, what can we do with the rain? That actually gives us another nectar memory. So once we get Wrapped in the King, we'll actually be able to do that. We won't need the memory from Ambrosial. Actually, we don't need either of them right now. We can go ahead and do that because we can use a health. Oops, not vet. We want a health. We add the rain, and that gets us to 10, and that makes Hive's Lament, a beating in the heart. Drums and dances with scholar-level nectar plus an instrument creates Hive's Lament. So let's go ahead and make one of those and see what it does. So it is springtime. We can't harvest in the vegetable patch, but we could harvest from the beehive. Honey or beeswax, if I'm careful. So we could always use more honey. And this is just about done, so we'll make 1 piece. So that will be 2 pieces of Gervanite that we'll be able to make. Shapt, pattern, amethyst ampoule, and lockworks and clockworks. Makes Gervin. Actually, we could use our maladied shaft, but it's busy with something else right now, but this is enough. So this will get us our 2 pieces of metal that we need. We actually have 1 already, so we can grab the other one, the copper wire from over here. And let's consider this package and investigate it and see what we can find in here. Something odd. Crack open the container to light in your discovery. So, let's go ahead and see if we can get these pumps working. So we need 2 pieces of metal. We have that. We need a soul card. We need a skill. And then finally, we need fuel. Well, we have plenty of that laying around. We can use this scintillate oil that's sitting around. Cater and Hero's finest scintillate oil. Jury rig the upper level pumps. The machine roars into life. Water thuds and gurgles. This will take a while. This will take a full day, 6 minutes to complete. So we'll go ahead and let that start working. And we need... So let's see, we can get Mr. Kill in today. See if he can open up that room there. So Mr. Kill will give him a whist to start. And then we will start making another one. We can reread this to get these 5-point Newman with Eric Payan. So there's Earth Sign and Impulse. So once we get finished making this Hive's Lament, we can see what we can do with it and see if we can get to 15 nectar. So then, let's see. Anything else down here we might be able to use right now? Not that it looks like. We could use the lignum vitae to make some more pears, but for now I think we're good on foods because we have a bowl of pears already. If we need extra forge power for Denzel. My assistant and I will be prudent. So again, we could come over here and we could give him the Chronos Core to give him 3 points of winter, but why use it for that? Just that. So we'll just give him the knife to get him to 5. The Newman will get him to 10, and then a Solomon's preparation will get him to 14. And we need 15 to open up, so we need to find one more point so we can give him something to eat with winter on it. Well, milk counts as a sustenance, so we can give him that. It's also a beverage. I don't know if it will be able to use that or not, but if he can't, we can open up the Crystarium with it. Oh, that's right. We have the Blue Crown Tea. That counts as 2 winter. We could do that. Well, we're giving him the Solomon's preparation, so that will give him 2 more winter than the Blue Crown Tea will. We'll see what we can do. And we found another Lignum Vitae blank. How nice. So that will get us some more pears. For now, we'll set this down here at the altar. Just so we remember that our wood is in front of the altar to the Malachite. A buzzing in the skull. Hive's Lament, a song of pragmatic sorrow. So this one is persistent. It has 2 moth, 4 nectar, and 2 winter, and it gives us the ability to evolve via Bosk. So I can use Bosk with this to evolve my soul. So let's see. So drums and dances with the Hive's Lament, and the Earth Sign, and a health, and the Impulse. We can only put heart or sky memories in there, so that only gets us to 14. So let's see, where else can we put? We can put nectar in here. So we can put the Earth Sign here, or the Hive's Lament. We can do a health. We can do drums and dances, gets us to 12. And just to be, we can put in the Pyrus, And that makes Sacrament Malachite. Oh, how about that? That was actually the secret ingredient for that. This pair can be the basis for a nectar sacrament of the deep woods. Drums and dances with keeper-level nectar plus Pyrrhus Calcanus creates Sacrament Malachite. Well, we already have one bottle of that, so I don't think we're going to need a second bottle just yet. If we do, we have the ability to get one. Honey or beeswax, if I'm careful. We got some beeswax. Okay. So one other thing we can test out here, we need to look and see what insects and nectars can make with. So if we add a beverage, I'll mix a darker, stronger liquor. But we know that if we add lethe, that makes lethe itself. But let's see, let's go one further. Let's add the hive's lament, and we can, there we go. We're 1 point over, but brew the encostum terminal called Maricat. So insects and nectars with 15 nectar and a lethe makes Maricat. So let's go ahead and make us our 4th encostum, because having more encostum is never a bad thing. Alright, the tools boosted their aspects. We will add the Newman, which will get him to 10. So there's another piece of Gervanite for us. We'll just stick this on the shelf for now. So let's see, what do we have in books up here? We have, we can do the Republic of Teeth. That's easy enough to read. 6 scale is easy. It's so easy, very easy. Oh, actually, all we need is Heal and Hollow. And then we can use a Fet. Scale Unearthed. I can master this mystery. This will give us Serpents and Venoms, which is Scale and Moon. So we need one more moon memory for that. So we'll go back to our old friend, the 7th voice. The pages on that one have got to be stained and wrinkled and all kinds of things. You know how it is when you've read a book 3 or 4 times and it starts to fall apart on you. Either that or books were well bound back in this time period. Okay, so let's see. If we give him the milk, does it count as food or does it count as a drink? It counts as food. Okay. But just to be safe, we will give him the Solomon's Preparation first, just to make sure that it's not taking up both slots. So that'll get him to 14, and then with the milk, we'll get him to 15 so he can open this incandescent hollow. And we have another package we can open here. So we'll use one of our metal for that. Something abandoned. So it looks like it's probably going to be another box inside there. Just checking to see if any of these have winter aspect on them. No, they don't. So we'll offer him some milk. Strange to think of eating milk, but hey, if it works, it works. And this gives him 15 winter. So he will be able to open that basement area over there in the cubit, where I think we're going to find something rather surprising. Alright, so there is our confounding parable. Once we finish reading that, we're We're most of the way done brewing our bottle of Maricat. Sustenance has boosted their aspects. So we'll come over here. Sullen heat still roils below. Its originator must be long gone, but it must be quelled before I can descend safely. So 15 winter. Do your worst, Mr. Kill. Set the fires that reside there to rest. And inside the container we find some refulgin. A white so pure it remains visible even in utter darkness, like the moon or an insistent cat. So that's a lantern pigment, and it's also a material. So something we can do if we need some extra points of lantern for something. This is an Encostum Terminal, one of the great inks. Use it with your journal to record a history and fulfill your reason for coming to Hush House, if you so choose. The Encostum Terminal of the Fifth History. The color of the principle that once occupied the place that Heart does now. It was in the Fifth History itself, the cult of Maricat was everywhere suppressed, but it's sometimes been venerated otherwise. 7 Grail, 7 Knock, and 7 Nectar. That is an extremely potent thing for several things that are really hard to get, so Nectar especially. So we'll set that up on our shelf here. So let's organize these by history. So we have Oozled, the ink in which the first history was written. Orpiment, the Encostum of the fifth of the fourth history. We'll move this down here. And Maricat, which is of the fifth history. And then we have Nillicant, which is of the third history. So we only have one history we have not found the Encostum for yet. And it is going to be one of the more difficult ones to make. So now that that is done, we will go back to the drums. We can use the Earth Sign and another health to create another Hive's Lament, so that we can brew another bottle of Maricat if we so choose, or if we need some extra nectar power for something or other. Alright, so this is The Republic of Teeth, an eccentric political tract by Valentine de Wolf. One lesson on serpents and venoms, and a memory of intuition. Valentine suggests that rulers should be elected to govern by serpents, not their subjects, for the serpent, being cold-blooded in its nature, is incorruptible. Valentine's initial proposal is that a college of electors should subject themselves to the bites of venomous serpents, which he grades and details, preferring the least dangerous, and should allow the resulting deliria to guide them in their choice of people's representatives. He becomes concerned, however, by the practicalities of ensuring equal quantities of venom in each case, and gets halfway into a proposal for using birds instead in the selection process, before giving up mid-sentence. Oh, Valentine, you were an eccentric, of course. So now our question, do we use this to boost serpents and venoms, or do we use it for something else? We have not assigned serpents and venoms, so we could do to that, or we could apply it to Hill and Hollow and get that up to 7 scale. I think that's probably the correct play here, is to upgrade Hill and Hollow to 7 scale. So, with that said, Hill and Hollow needs scale or moon. We have enough time to get the memories for it. So we have 2 moon memories here. So we need 5 more. Or we need 4 more. So we can do Victory of Crowns. That gives us 3. We can do Sea Does Not Regret for Salt. That gives us 4. can do Gospel of Zacchaeus. Gets us 5. And then we can do Fear. Or actually, we can come over here and we can do something we haven't used for before. We can do Heal and Hollow itself plus a Shapt makes... Oh, nope, that's not going to do it. Let's see. We need... Oh, that's right. We have our scale harp is up here. Hunter's harp. This was once strung with Yethhound gut. Those strings must be long gone, but there's still an unusual savagery to the harp's notes. So we can add a Faust just to have and that would make this Claveret. I know there's something we can make here. Strings and Songs makes a Wistful Air. Stone Stories, we don't know what it makes yet. There's potential here. I know there was one that makes another thing, but we have a book we can read instead for that one, so we'll use that. I was going to try and make a Savage Hymn. I know we have a skill that makes one. I just can't remember where it is. Scale Secured. I can master this. I've already mastered this, but I can reread it, and perhaps recall a memory. So that will give us our 7 memories. Or 6 memories, rather. For upgrading Hill and Hollow. And Mr. Kill has finished his work. We have found the oubliette. Here, in a vessel shaped by fire and fate, George Collars confined in a flame in human flesh, a blazing shadow of a blazing future, a name of greed and time. Green called it the sun's bastard grandchild. Van Loren warned of the second dawn's first spark, but Collars spoke of it reverently as the leashed flame's true heir. Fire, iron, dusk, air, all wrenched into a configuration designed to confine something very dangerous. That something is long gone, but the configuration still has its uses. Now, if we remember back a ways, we read a book that told us something about a subterranean prison of iron and fire, and that if we applied the disciplines of the hammer or the disciplines of the scar, we could use that to release what was inside. This certainly looks like something made out of iron and fire. So let's apply disciplines of the scar and a soul fragment. And we could use winter, edge, lantern, or forge here. And this will unveil a treasure of the house. Name the scars in iron and night to unveil a treasure of the house. If we use disciplines of the hammer instead, it says, align the surfaces of fire and air to unveil a treasure of the house. So let's go ahead and do that and find out what is hiding here in the oubliette containment. So that will take a minute to finish. So next, I think our next goal is going to be this sealed cell here, because we can definitely get Denzel up to 12 forge fairly easily. In fact, what we need to do, we can take glass blowing and vessel crafting. We can take a shaft and our gervanite, and we can make some orichalcum wire. Actually, we don't even need we could use our fatigued or our malady shaft, but we can use this one. So use this metal as a base for the fabled forge ally called orichalcum. Glasswing and vessel crafting with scholar level knock plus metal creates wire orichalcum. So this will give us 4 forge, plus 2 from himself, plus 2 from metal, gives us 8. So we just need to find 4 points of forge in order to open up this sealed cell. Or if the impermeable cell, we would need more than that. So there's 1, 2, 3, and 4 memories. So we'll apply Hill and Hollow, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, and a lesson. And we need Moon or Scale, so we'll apply Trist. When I thought I'd understood, I'd only begun. Improve this skill to level 7. So this will give us 7 Scale and 8 Moon. Starting to get into some fairly high level skills at this point. So there's our Hive's Lament back. And while we're on it, we need to do Edict's Martial and Shapt to make an old wound. And then we can get a Wormwood. Here, impossibly preserved, enfolded in the cage, wrought to contain the former prisoner's energies. The Sun's Design. A scorched slab of black corundum, minutely scratched on every side with intricate ideoglyphs. This book houses a numen, a truth so powerful it can perhaps believe itself. Written in Cracktrack, 10 Lantern, and it gives us information about the Watchman's paradoxes. And it is a tablet, a book with very few pages. And it is from the Dawn period, around 600 AD. So, we need a place where we can read a lantern book. Well, we can come over here to the governor's desk. So we can apply cost. We forgot to actually grab the book. So we'll grab that. Whatever was down there does not sound like it was happy. So, what is this? It's Cracktrack. We apply Auroral Contemplation, and I can master this mystery. And we have a 4th Numen available to us. Hill and Hollow is now level 7. 7 scale and 8 moon. His power aspects have also increased. So let's see. Let's find a place where we can do moon crafting so we can find what that one can actually do with moon. Hill and Hollow plus moon. So we'll add the Trist. Salt sign. We need an egg and 10 moon to hatch something eyeless but pulsing with potential. So that would be another of those curious imagos. Or at least the precursor to one. And for scale, and we don't have memories for that. So we need 3 points of scale. So actually, here's an interesting little trick you can do using writing disk. So right now we don't have enough there to get to 10 skill with Hill and Hollow by itself, but let's add a bet just to get. So Bisclaver it's not is what it requires for scale. And then for scholar level, trace it on an egg to hatch something that recalls an earlier era. So we wouldn't be able to put an egg in there, but just to demonstrate a little trick that I've learned, we could, for example, grab a book that is written in Hennevic, because Hennevic is scale. So let me find something that's written in Hinavec. I know we have at least one book in Hinavec somewhere. Is it over here? I know we had at least one book written in Hinavec somewhere. Oh well, not a big deal. But the what I was going to say is the trick you can do with it is you can add a book and then add the language to get some extra few points to get to where you're trying to get to. Or you can also use an ink, because we do have an ink here with 7 scale on it. So 7 plus 7 is 14. We just need one more point to get to 15. And we know Hill and Hollow with sufficient scale and a old moment makes a earthquake name. So we just need to get an old moment and we'll be able to do that. And we actually do have a way to get that, because we got an extra one of these. We got another year tally. If we consider the year tally, we can get an old moment to work with. Investigate the mark. Nothing will remain. Alright, so we're coming up on the next day here. And we've made quite a bit of progress today. We've finally managed to craft another encostum. We've discovered a new memory here. We have clouds for today's weather. In this country, the sky is rarely clear. The sun goes courteously cloaked. So we've discovered Hive's Lament. We've discovered a new book that a new Newman book that we are reading. And we've made quite a bit of progress. We're still waiting on the next season to come around, because for our salon to go away so we can hold another one, and so we can hire a barber for his moth ability. And we managed to make it all the way down here to the oubliette containment. So I think that's probably a good stopping point for the day. So what we will do from here is we will go ahead and call it a day. I will see you all tomorrow. If you've enjoyed what you've been watching, please leave a like or a comment down below. If you'd like to continue watching and see where this playthrough ends up, then please subscribe. And I will see you on the next episode.